Hare Krishna. So, the big question, were we in the spiritual world with Krishna? That question has been asked so many times. We discussed it the last few days. Today I was doing a little research. And you know what Prabhupada said? He said, Krishna is everywhere. You could never not be with Krishna. Interesting answer, right? Krishna, did we fall from the spiritual world? Were we with Krishna? Krishna is everywhere. You could never not be with Krishna. Okay. That's an interesting answer. All right. So yes, you did fall from Krishna because there is only Krishna. There can only be Krishna. So you must fall from Krishna. Then, this morning, I was listening to some memories by Srila Prabhupada, and Lakshmi Moni said that Prabhupada said, I will quote, and this is all for all of you who arrive on time, you get special benefit. You don't have to go looking for Maya. She's right behind Krishna, and as soon as you forget Krishna, Maya is there. Today I think I'll go looking for Maya. No, you don't have to look. As soon as you forget Krishna, she's right behind Krishna. Here's Krishna, here's Maya. She's right behind. As soon as you forget Krishna, hi, hello, can I help you? Isn't that an interesting example? Krishna, Maya. As soon as you forget Krishna, guess what's waiting? Guess who's waiting for you? Your old friend. Okay, so today I just want to announce at 9:30 there's a kirtan. I believe it's in celebration of Lokanath Maharaj's appearance day. They're doing 24-hour kirtan in Delhi. And they asked me to do a kirtan from 9:30 to 10. 9:30 is the time we end class. So we'll end a few minutes earlier and we'll set that up. And hopefully Radha Priya is going to be broadcasting that on my Facebook page for those who would like to see it. So now we'll begin with a little kirtan. And you want to hear what we're going to talk about today? Of course, I don't know how far we're going to get. How do you take birth when you go to the spiritual world? Do we take another birth in the material world after we become purified? Is Paramatma in the spiritual world? What are the relationships that exist in Vaikuntha? What are the rasas that exist in Vaikuntha? How do they dress in the spiritual world? Whoa, stay tuned for that. There's actually a dress code in the spiritual world. Did you know that? So Prabhupada was asked about the dress, how we're dressing, how they're dressing. Does the spirit, is he 1/10,000th of a size? Well, is he 1/10,000th the size? Is he 1/10,000th? Is he the size 1/10,000th the tip of a hair? As Shastra says, the size of the soul in the spiritual world. And also, yesterday we read about Christ and how to get back to Godhead. That's that's a nice question to answer, how to get back to Godhead. So, stay tuned everyone for another Laughing Your Way Back to Godhead show with your host, Das Anudas, servant of the servant. We all want to become master of the masters, but we're servant of the servant. Right? We're told to be servant of the servant, and we want to become master of the masters. That's the problem. Many problems, right? So many problems. That's the big one. So many problems. Some are bigger than others. That one is a big one. Hare Krishna. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Shodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Shodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Shodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Shodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Jamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Hari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Sodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Shodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Shodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Radha Madhava Kunjabi Sri Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Thai Go Paramanande, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Shamaniti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sanyavadi Paschatya Dasatarine Vanshakapaturyaschа Kripashandavyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So by this Sangha, devotee Sangha, hearing, chanting, commenting, asking questions, we're going deeper in our understanding of Krishna consciousness. Looks like your internet may be lagging again today. Whoa, what to do? Yes, on my end, when it lags, it shows that generally it shows it's lagging. So I'm not sure. Is it my internet? Is it lagging for everyone? Who's lagging? That's the question. So, it's a beautiful discussion here. This is entitled Guaranteed to Go Back to Godhead. And this is a lecture First Canto, 16th chapter, text 23, in Hawaii, January 19th, 1974. Devotee. Prabhupada, how can one know whether he'll be going back home to Godhead in this life? Good question. Lagging. If it's true it's lagging, and then I have to call up my internet provider. Basically, it works for a while and then it needs to be repaired, then it works for a while and that's somehow, I don't know. I don't understand why. But anyway, if today I'm lagging for all of you, then let me know and I'll call them. So the question is, how can one know whether he's going back to Godhead? Good question. Prabhupada. Yes, believe in Krishna. He gives his word. Janma karma jame divyam yo janati tattataha. Bhagavad Gita 4:9. This means, well, Prabhupada explains what it means. Krishna says, anyone who understands me in truth, takta deham punar janma naiti. He doesn't accept any more material body. Oh, it's lagging for a lot of you. Maybe it's a conspiracy by Trump to cause lagging in Krishna Katha. Okay, so maybe I have to call I will make a note to call my company for the 7. I probably call them every 2 or 3 months. So, internet problems. We'll get someone out there. Is August 24th okay? Yeah, sometimes they don't come for a while. So, Prabhupada, whether he's going back to Godhead in this lifetime. Yes, believe in Krishna. He gives his word. Janma karma chame divyam yo janati tattataha. Bhagavad Gita 9:4. Krishna says, anyone who understands me in truth, takta deham punar janma naiti. He doesn't accept any more material body. He comes to me. The guarantee is there. So you try to understand Krishna. If you do not understand anything more, if you simply accept it without any hypocrisy, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he'll protect me, let me serve his lotus feet as far as possible. This much qualification is sufficient. Whoa. It's easier than you thought, right? But if you still have got some doubt about Krishna, then you try to understand Krishna. Be without any doubt that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then your everything is guaranteed. Tattataha. Therefore Krishna says, Yo jana tattataha. Where is Bhagavad Gita here? A. You should keep all these books for reference. Prabhupada's asking. So then they read the verse, Janma karma chame divyam yo janati tattataha takta deham puna janma naiti mameti swarjuna. That's Bhagavad Gita 4:9. So, okay, it seems simple. To understand Krishna as he is, there's some requirement there. You have to be transcendental, at least somewhat transcendental. Otherwise, you're never going to understand Krishna's transcendental nature. And so, as I've often said, the price you pay to understand Krishna's transcendental nature and relish it is to give up sense gratification, because when you're competing with Krishna, you can't understand Krishna. And then you start thinking Krishna. Either you lose faith in the proper understanding or you misunderstand. So, what's making an interesting point here. You simply accept, what Prabhupada says, if you do not understand more, you simply accept without any hypocrisy that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna says, this is who I am, this is what I'm like, and you accept that, then you're hearing, you're understanding, this is the transcendental nature of Krishna. At least we can say you become qualified to go back to Godhead. That's your qualification. Because some of you are thinking, well, that's all I have to do. I don't have to chant 16 rounds. The Prabhupada's not saying that. I mean, implied in understanding Krishna is that you would have to be doing to perfectly understand. But still, once In Los Angeles, in his garden, they brought one of the lawyers. I think he was the assistant to the main lawyer. He wanted to see Prabhupada. I guess he was reading our books. He had to read our books to know, to represent us. And he asked Prabhupada, how long does it take to surrender? And Prabhupada said, 1 moment. And Prabhupada gave the same answer that he's giving here. If you accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you accept that you're servant, then you're at least to some degree surrendered. How do we know this? I think it was Mukunda Maharaj or someone in the early days who wanted to get initiated. Prabhupada, can I get initiated? Prabhupada said, who is? He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who are you? I'm Jiva, his eternal servant. Okay, you can be initiated tomorrow. You understand who Krishna is. You understand who you are. Okay, you're qualified. You're surrendered. So that's a kind of surrender. You understand, like what we read yesterday, the devotees are trying to figure out what's going on in the spiritual world and how do you eat and how do you sleep and is there day, is there night? Prabhupada's trying to explain, understand. If you accept is there of Krishna, his relationships, the spiritual world, you accept it, this is how it is, let me try to understand it as Krishna is explaining it as best I can. Then you are ready to go back to Godhead and be in material consciousness. So this is interesting. This interesting answer to this question. Prabhupada's just quoting 4:9. Yeah, if Krishna says, you know me, then you don't come back here. Punar janma naiti, you won't have to take birth again. Interesting, don't you think? And so, you read Bhagavatam, hearing, you're able to understand Krishna by his mercy, that qualifies you for going back to Sometimes restarting the internet rather. Okay, well, but I can't do it now because I'm here. It's in the house and I'm outside the house. We'll restart the internet router and then we'll test it tomorrow. Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, everyone, let us pray to the gods of the internet to have mercy on us and speed us up, or prevent us from lagging behind the other internet connections. Okay. So what does this verse mean? Janma karma chame divyam. It means I don't take birth like you, and I don't act like you. And when you understand the difference between me and you, Krishna, basically that's what Krishna's saying. You understand the difference. You're not like me. As one time Prabhupada was asked, what's our philosophy? Says, can you succinctly explain our philosophy? And Prabhupada said, God is great. You're not great. That's our philosophy. In 3 sentences. Prabhupada was dealing with all the impersonalism, so that's what he said. So, you're not Krishna. Krishna is not you. What you do and how you live, how we live, is not how Krishna lives. When you understand that, now you understand the transcendental nature. And then beyond that, maybe the most difficult thing to understand is that Krishna's loving affairs with the gopis have nothing to do with the loving affairs, so-called loving affairs between a man and woman. And one way you can calculate how well you understand Krishna Lila is how well you understand that. And how when you hear about Krishna and the gopis, that what resonates with you is this deep love that the gopis have for Krishna. And you totally understand there's nothing sexual here at all. But if you hear about the activities of Krishna and the gopis and it arouses some sexual desire, some stimulus, some sexual thought, that means you have not understood the transcendental nature of Krishna. So that's a test. And it's even said that if those leelas disturb you sexually, you shouldn't hear them because you're not understanding them properly. And you should pray. And then you should pray to understand them. But as I've made this point before, if we're trying to imitate Krishna, we can't understand him. But when we were renounced, when we become renounced, detached from sense gratification and sexual desire, then we can understand this love between Radha and Krishna, and that you give up this, but you get that. And Maya says, don't give this up. I'll give you something. But she can't give rasa. So I give up this lower rasa. It may be difficult to give it up, but I get that rasa. That's how we should think, because that becomes an impetus to give up the lower rasa. Say, well, if I control myself, if I become renounced, if I can be celibate, then I become qualified to understand to some degree, to get some taste and understanding, not fully, but something, a little bit, the love of Radha and Krishna. And if I understand a little bit of that love, experience it a little bit, that's infinitely greater than any experience I could ever have by trying to imitate Krishna. Right? How's your imitating of Krishna business going? Is it okay? There's a 1977 in LA, they made a video called Fish Out of Water, and you can find it on the internet. And it's about a fish who comes out of the water, and he's guided by Maya. He comes to be God, and he ends up working really, really hard to please his wife, who's never pleased with him, and then she cheats on him, and he's burned out. Yeah. So how's your imitating business? How's your imitating Krishna business going for you today? You having any trouble? Any obstacles on the path of imitating Krishna? How's it working out for you? Yeah, it's not working out too good. Where did it take us? Took us to get another body. So this is a meditation. This is a meditation I often have when I'm at this junction of to do some austerity or make some more sacrifice or pull back. Oh, I don't want to do this. It's difficult. That if I take that step to do the austerity, that puts me a step closer to understanding Radha and Krishna and what that love is. And that is so valuable, so rare, so sweet, so special. If I can understand that, it's infinitely greater than any experience I could have here. And so, although I have to make a sacrifice, what I'm getting back is Yeah, okay. So we'll end class early and I'll reset my router. And then we'll see what happens. It's also possible that the gods of the router gods will change their mind during class and show blessings on us. And it'll speed up. We are dependent on technology. Sometimes technology is frustrating. I've been having very frustrating experiences with technology yesterday. Something's supposed to do something, it does the other thing, the software. It's a reminder. Sometimes I forget, Sometimes I think actually I can hit a button on my computer and it's actually going to do what it's supposed to do because I'm in control of my computer, but it doesn't always do it. Reminder, in case you forgot, you're not God, you don't control everything. Oh yeah, I forgot. I thought I was controlling everything. Yeah. Your tongue yesterday. Did you control your sleep yesterday? Did you control your mind? Okay, let's go on to the next one. The next one is entitled Take Birth with Krishna, and this is from a lecture in Mexico on the Bhagavad Gita 2.14. Chapter 2, text 14. Yeah, okay. We'll restart my phone and restart my router and phone, and we'll. If that doesn't work, we call the company. So the devotee asks a question. Prabhupada, you said that devotees, after becoming fully pious, have to take another birth in the material world, and in somewhere where Krishna is performing his pastimes before going back to Vaikuntha. So, we don't go, is it true? We don't go directly back to Krishna in Goloka, but we, in Goloka, but we come to Gokul, Vrindavan, and join the Leelas of Krishna, and then become purified, become polished. Finishing school, yeah. Gokul, Krishna's Leelas in Gokul is the finishing school. You go to the finishing school, and now you're ready. When you graduate, you can go into the eternal Leelas. So that's the question. Is it true? Prabhupada, there is no difference. What an answer. It's like, I want to go straight. I don't want to have to stop and go, cool, come on, take birth again, After all the Sankirtan I did, all the sacrifice I did, and you throw me into Gokul, I just want to go straight. Not fair. It's not a good deal. No. Because you approach Krishna, Taktva deham punar mameti, quotes the same verse again. He comes to me. Krishna says he comes to me. So Krishna, where he's there, Krishna says you come to me. Maybe it's in Gokul, maybe it's in Goloka. Wherever I am, you come to me. I'll according to your qualification, according to what I choose. So what's the difference? You got a problem with that? You're coming to me in Vrindavan, in Gokul. Problem with that? There's no difference because you approach Krishna. He comes to me, Krishna says. Krishna, when he's there, just like Krishna was on this planet, to live with Krishna and go to Goloka Vrindavan and to live with Krishna, there's no difference, devotee. Is this birth we have now considered in Krishna's pastimes? The Sankirtan movement, is it part of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes? Good question. In other words, if we're engaged in Prabhupada's mission, is that Krishna Leela? Is that Mahaprabhu's Leela? Am I in Mahaprabhu's Leela? And Prabhupada didn't understand the question. He said, I don't follow. And then Satsvarupa Maharaj explains the question again. In this life, the present life, is this also being within Krishna's pastimes? Because Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement is Krishna's pastimes. Prabhupada, yes. Interesting. Yes. If you actually remain with Sankirtan, that means you are with Krishna. Therefore, he's called Jivan Mukta Sauchite, the person who's doing that, not Krishna, the devotee. He's called liberated. Even in this body, he's Krishna, and Krishna's name is not different. Absolute. Abhinatvam nama namina. Nama Chintamani Krishna. Tamrita, Madhya 17, 133. If you Krishna's name and Krishna are the same thing, that you are always living with Krishna. If you have understood this. Abhinatvam namanamino. So Prabhupada, he's taking it from the question, which is, if we're spreading Sankirtan, am I with Krishna, to if you realize Krishna is in his name, you're always with Krishna. And then he quotes this verse, Nama Chintamani Krishna. Krishna Chaitanya is a form of the name. Krishna's name is the form of Krishna. Krishna is not His words, Krishna's name, Krishna's fame, Krishna's glory, Krishna's entourage. Everything in relationship with Krishna, that is Krishna. But if you have got that perfect knowledge, then you are living with Krishna always. You are already in the Vaikuntha. So we're going to read another conversation, as I was saying earlier in the class. Were we with Krishna? And it's the same answer. You're always with Krishna. There is nothing but Krishna. So now you may not see that, but there's nothing but Krishna. But when you see that, then you're always with Krishna. So, we see duality because we don't realize, if we don't realize, then we see duality or in hearing. So, interesting answer, right? If you have got that perfect knowledge, then you are living with Krishna always. You are already in the Vaikuntha. Yeah, so you are in Leela with Krishna, if you have that consciousness. Because Krishna is not limited by these three dimensions. Krishna is transcendental. He lives within and without, and he lives within his name, within his glorification, within the Bhagavatam. As you advance, you realize it more and more. And then the Shastra says, when you come to the stage of bhava, that's one of the symptoms of bhav, is you realize Krishna's in his name. It's not intellectual anymore. It's experienced. I am with Krishna. And that's why a devotee can chant so many rounds. Because if you realize Krishna in his name, it would certainly be easy to chant a lot. It would be hard to stop chanting, wouldn't it? Well, then you go to Krishna in his prasadam. Then you go to Krishna in his kirtan. Then you go to Krishna in his service. But you understand if you actually realize Krishna's in his name. Now, the more we realize that, the more we want to chant. The less we realize that, the harder it is to chant. And when you're ever in this point where you just don't feel like chanting, it's probably is at zero, that Krishna's in his name. It's just, you don't want to chant. Chant, there's no pleasure there. I don't realize Krishna in his name. So, is ISKCON one of the Leelas of Lord Chaitanya? Krishna's everywhere. Everything is his Leela, if you see it that way. So we're taking part in Lord Chaitanya's Leela. As we had discussed before. When there was Kirtan, Prabhupada would say, oh, Lord Brahma came, Lord Shiva came, Narada Muni came, or the Panchatattva are here, so many things. We're not seeing it, but it means that our Kirtan, our preaching is all part of Lord Chaitanya's Leela. We may not see that, but it is. And hopefully, sooner than later, we will see it. Gradually, you'll understand. Anandita says, sometimes when we chant without taste, isn't it because Krishna is testing us, as opposed to us not realizing Krishna is in his name? Could be, but not. And say every time it is. It could be. I mean, if every day you're chanting and you have this with the holy name and very strong taste, and one day, and you haven't done anything differently, there's nothing, then it's possible that Krishna is testing you. He wants to see, what are you going to do now? Go to sleep? Hang your beads up for the day? Get upset? Yeah, so Krishna wants to see, are you devoted? Are you going to chant even if you don't get any taste, are you going to keep chanting? So that's true. I actually just answered a question yesterday, and that was the answer I gave. But sometimes. I think I have to clean my lens. It looks blurry. So you're not going to see me for a second. I hope you can tolerate the separation, like the gopis. blink of an eye. With a blink of an eye, they were cursing Brahma. Now, I didn't see Krishna for a second. And sometimes, due to offenses to the name or our lifestyle being compromised, our sadhana being compromised, there may be no taste. You'll have to see. But if you feel you haven't offended any devotees, you haven't committed offenses, steady and there's no taste, could be. It's possible. That Krishna just wants to see what you're going to do. Okay. Next, let's read the next one. This was a question about, is the Paramatma in the spiritual sky? And this is an answer, apparently, an answer that was given many times by Prabhupada. And Anita has just put in an advertisement for my book. You can read her advertisement. No, she wasn't intending to make an advertisement. She's just expressing her experience. So if you don't have the book, I would recommend it. It will help you. It's on Amazon. Japa Affirmations. The book was an accident, which makes me think Krishna wanted it, because I didn't make any effort to publish it. Okay, regarding your questions, in the spiritual sky, everything is spiritual. So Krishna has no for living in the heart. There was a question, does Krishna live in the heart of the spiritual body? They are seeing Krishna face to face, use of being in the heart. Outside, inside, they are always the same, even their heart, that is also Satchit Ananda. There is no mechanical arrangement like this material body for anyone in the spiritual world, what to speak of Krishna. So, in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says that Krishna is in the heart to guide the living entity to give intelligence. And here Prabhupada is saying, well, Krishna is in the world, so he doesn't have to be in the heart. And Krishna's in the heart as Chaitaguru to guide us. His ultimate guidance is to guide us back to Godhead. Then Prabhupada said, then the Guru, he guides you so that you can hear Super Soul, and the Super Soul will guide you. And in the spiritual world, Satchidananda, Krishna's there. You don't need, it's not like you're getting out of Maya anymore, and you need the Super Soul to guide you. So that's the answer. Now, there's a problem, and this is the perennial problem, and we have been discussing this, and we discussed this a lot yesterday. The perennial problem is that Krishna gives you what you want, and someone might, if you're not a devotee, you would think, that's really good. God gives you whatever you want. Would you love a God who gives you whatever you want? Yeah, that'd be great. No, it's not great. Because unless you know what you want, you'll want the wrong thing. It's only great when you... And so that's the beauty of Paramatma. Now there's a purport, it's an interesting purport. I think it's in the second canto. And Prabhupada said, I'll explain what he said, not verbatim as he said it, but I would interpret it with an analogy. Imagine there's a radio going on, broadcasting the news, if people even use radios anymore. Okay, that's an outdated example. Imagine the news is being broadcast online, and it's just, you just put it on and you go about doing something. And it's just in the background, and you're not really... Now you know how old I am. I said radio. Yeah. There was a prehistoric time, long, long ago, about 1947, in another yuga, when there was no television. I believe that. how horrible life must have been pre-television. So Prabhupada said, so it's like you're hearing the news or whatever you're hearing online, and you're not paying attention. It's basically just background noise. It's noise in the background. For example, the message is really important, like attention to destroy, find, go dig a hole in the ground and get in there. Find a shelter, Go hug a tree. You instructions what to do, and you're not hearing it because you're busy, oh, I'm cooking this nice, whatever you're cooking. So Prabhupada said it's something like that. He said the real reason Krishna's in the heart, the main reason, is because he's trying to guide us out of the material world. He's trying to say, hey, look at that. Did you see that? Did you see that? That didn't work for you. Did you see that? Did you notice that didn't work? Did you notice this is like the 8th millionth time it didn't work? Did you notice? Krishna's constantly telling us that. And it's just like noise in the background. We're not listening. That's what Prabhupada said. He's constantly telling us, go back to Godhead, surrender, don't do this, do this. Isn't that amazing? Like background information going on that we've tuned out. Meditate on that. Krishna's in the heart to get you back to Godhead. He's broadcasting everything you need to know to go back to Godhead. And in order to join Maya, how can you broadcast? Because that broadcast, because you don't want to hear the broadcast surrender to me if you're trying to surrender. So we tune out the broadcast. Isn't that interesting? I think it's really interesting. Some people say, I don't know if God loves me. He's broadcasting to you constantly how to get back to him. If that's not love, I don't know what is. So that's the bad news. But the good news is, if you tune in, then you get the broadcast. Then becoming Krishna conscious. Someone says, oh, it's so hard to be a devotee. It's so hard to be Krishna conscious. Then one thing that we could say is, maybe you've tuned out the broadcast. Because if you tune into the broadcast, it's not hard. It's like, there's a world's in emergency. I don't know what to do. Oh, just tune into the broadcast. They tell you what to do. So the fact that you're in anxiety, you don't know what to do, means, so the world's, there's birth, old age, disease, and death. It's a terrible thing. Tune into the broadcast. Listen, it tells you how to get out of that. So that's why Krishna's in the heart. That's his main function. So he doesn't have to be there in the spiritual world because he got you there. That's why he's there. Broadcasting. This is what you should do. This is what you should understand. This is what you should not do. This is what's wrong. And if you just tune in, it's very easy. There are places in the Bhagavatam, in Prabhupada's books, he says two things. Like, it's easy to be Krishna conscious and it's difficult to be Krishna conscious. So why? Well, these are the reasons. You're tuned in or you're not tuned in. But if you're not tuned in, yeah, it's difficult. If you're tuned in, it's easy. So Kamaniya, I don't know. It seems like we have a lag here because your posting just came up now and I read it about 5 minutes ago. So was that an oversight on your part, or is that a lagging? Is the internet so lagging that it takes 5 minutes from the time you post it till we get it? That's sad. That's so sad. Anyway, the posting's up there now if you want to read it. But I'm ready to go to the next one. The next one is, there's the next one. Okay. This is a simple question. And the question is, in Vaikuntha, as opposed to Vrindavan, Braj, what is the what are the relationships in Vaikuntha? And what are the relationships in Vaikuntha? Interesting question, right? Thinking of going to Vaikuntha, you need to get some information about what's going on. Okay. It's a letter to Madhusudana, and this is 1969. Regarding your second question about the rasas in Narayan's abode, it does not go higher than servitude and reverential friendship. So Krishna has three kinds of friends. Friends who are more like in a parental position, like Balaram, like the older brother mood. Friends who are equals, and friends who are in the inferior or the mood of service, not so friendly, more reverential. So Prabhupada's saying that's as high as it will go in Vaikuntha, reverential friendship. Vaikuntha is always, there's always etiquette there to follow. As you know, the cowherd boys play, and sometimes they say, "Krishna, open your mouth, we have a surprise," and they put a flower in his mouth, and they all laugh. So if you try to pull off that in Vaikuntha, it wouldn't go over well. And if you ever end up in Vaikuntha, don't try to pull that one off. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Gop Kumar is journeying back to Godhead, and Gop Kumar is a Gopa. That's why he's called Gopa Kumar. He's a Gopa. And he doesn't belong in Vaikuntha, but he's going up, and he ends up in Vaikuntha, and he's treating Narayan like a friend, and everybody's saying, like, you can't do that. That's not proper. You can't treat him like a friend. So that's just a point of information that in Vaikuntha, relationship goes on. And naturally, if you're cultivating anything beyond that relationship, it would be naturally assumed that you would go to Vrindavan because you couldn't cultivate it in Vaikuntha. But that would make an interesting scene in a movie, right? Gop Kumar goes to Vaikuntha and he goes up to Narayan and goes, hey, what's going on? Give him a little like that, and everybody's like, oh, you can't do that. And he's like, what do you mean you can't do that? Because he's in Sakyaras, he's not in reverential friendship. And so that's what they would do. That's what friends do. Funny, huh? Sometimes in English, when we say funny, it doesn't mean laughing funny, it means interesting. Just in case you don't know English, it's not your first language. When I say, that was funny, and you're thinking, that wasn't funny. I wasn't laughing. Funny means unusual. That's funny, isn't it? That means that's unusual. Doesn't mean necessarily that's something you laugh at. It's just, I saw something really funny today. There was this squirrel climbing up a tree and eating this and doing that, and you're listening and going, and you're thinking, that wasn't funny. No, it means unusual. Okay, that ends today's English class. Okay, I can read the next one. Here it comes, everyone. What do they wear in Vaikuntha? In the next 10 seconds, you will find out what they wear in Vaikuntha. Hansaduda. Someone has said that the dhoti that the charis wear is the dress that's worn in Vaikuntha. Is that correct? In case you don't understand what a dhoti is, dhoti, that's the proper pronunciation of dhoti. As we say in America, Prabhu, where's your dhoti? Where the brahmacharis wear dhotis. It's actually the brahmacharis wear dhotis. But because we're Americans, we say the brahmacharis wear dhotis and kurtas. Kurta, dhoti and kurta. And if you get in Australia and New Zealand, it's kurta. Where's your kurta? Baby, where's your kurta? So that's, it went from kurta to kurta when you got, the southern part of the world. Okay, so that's That's your language lesson for today. You learned something about Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, when it's a T, it's a T. Don't pronounce it like a D, Dodi. If it's a T, pronounce it like a T. Okay? You got it? Mm. 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 You're asking about today's Ekadasi. Lord goes to sleep for 4.5 days for my mom. So, what happens to works and to service when the Lord goes to sleep? His employees do everything. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate nachabhyadikas nadrishyate. You know that verse? Krishna has nothing to do because he has energies. Energies are personified. They do it all. Sangita, when you're God, will you work or will you rest? Will you enjoy or will you, pick up the axe and break stones to build a road? I think when you God, then you'd have enough power to get other people to do things. So, yeah. He can do whatever he wants. Okay, so, Hansa do this. Someone has said that the dhoti, that the brahmacharis wear is the dress that's worn in Vaikuntha. Is that correct, Prabhupada? Just see Vishnu. He has no coat pant. Here is Vishnu. I guess Prabhupada's showing a picture. Or Krishna. He has no dress. He is also bare body. He has no dress means he's wearing a dhoti and nothing on his chest. Only Radharani is covered. In India also. Still the covering of the body is only for women, but men. This, practically one dhoti is sufficient. Sometimes langota, I guess langota means lungi. The underwear, langota underwear. How do we saying, look at the pictures. Now, someone may say, should we dress the way they dress in the spiritual world? Down here? Well, that's another topic. But at least we know how they dress. They dress like Krishna. I just threw that in just because this time, the discussion, how to dress, how not to dress, what's the proper dress, what's the improper dress. We could say in general, the proper dress is the dress where we see the least of your body, basically. The least of it, the skin and the shape. And the girls are going, well, these brahmacharis walking around with dhotis up to their knees and no shirts, and it's hot, it's not fair, and we have to be all covered, yeah. Well, that's the problem with being a woman. Or the reality, I don't know if it's a problem, it's the reality, yeah, you have to be covered. Because men are like butter, and women are like fire. And so, don't melt, ladies, don't melt the butter. Stay covered and don't melt. As long as you're covered, the butter won't melt. Yeah. Okay. Should we go on to the next one? End the discussion on dhotis and how to dress? Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, but the point was dress in a way that doesn't sexually agitate another person. And so, one devotee asked Prabhupada, should I wear a nice sari? Should I dress up? And Prabhupada said, for your husband. He said, why? He said, why would you dress up and go out? Not to impress other people. So our society is like, I don't care what my husband likes. I want to go out and impress everybody with how I dress. That's what it's become today. And Prabhupada's saying it's supposed to be the total opposite. Why you dress up when you go out? You dress up when you stay home for your husband. When you go out, you dress down. That's the way it's supposed to be. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Think about it. Or maybe you've all fainted. Anyway, that's what Prabhupada said. He was asked, what about dressing up, wearing nice saris? He said, yeah, for your husband. That's what it's for. And then he said, why would you want to dress up to impress other people? That's not right. So our is about dressing up to impress other people. So interesting, isn't it? Spiritual world's so different. Okay, we're doing good today. We're reading a lot. In fact, this is the last thing I have to read, so I guess we're going to have some discussion here. Okay. There may be something in the other document, I'm not sure. I was playing hooky from studying this morning. I was watching videos about Prabhupada. Last night I gave class, and it had to end because I was falling asleep during class. I was like giving class like this. Towards the end, I was like this. I couldn't stay awake. And I changed class, half asleep, and I couldn't even walk. I was so tired I couldn't walk up to my house. So this little sofa back here, I just laid on it. And at like 3:30 or something, I woke up. So here we are today. And so Anna's asking that question, and Prabhupada said, Krishna doesn't care. He said, shouldn't we, what he's asked, should we dress up for Krishna? And Prabhupada said, Krishna doesn't care. Isn't that interesting? Because I think, the whole idea is, no, dress up and look beautiful for Krishna. In this maybe Prabhupada said that elsewhere. Krishna likes beautiful gopis. But in this conversation, he said, no. Interesting topic, huh? Okay, we could spend the next 3 days talking about dress. Okay, I think these topics regarding dressing fall into the umbrella topic of doing what is most conducive to our spiritual advancement. I feel this perspective can be helpful to understand the purpose behind customs or rules. And, one thing about dress is Prabhupada said, dress, if you feel there's nothing wrong, if you feel uncomfortable wearing a dhoti to go to the grocery shopping or a sari, then wear something else. But, in traditional, the normal dress was that people were covered, even 100 years ago or 120, 30 years ago, they were covered when they went to the beach. It was that was considered decent. Now it's like everything's becoming indecent. Isn't it? And, the women think it's like great to show off their bodies as much as possible, but it's just indecent. The chaste woman does. Okay, so is this why we have so many problems? Well, Christy's saying, is this why we have so many problems nowadays because of abuse? It could be. Could there be many factors? One factor is, yes, from a female's point of view, those, if a man is lusty, they'll just think, look at the man's lusty, no matter how I dress. Perspective, that could be acknowledged, but he'll be more lusty. It's like you're hungry, but if there's nothing good to eat, you probably won't overeat. And if you're hungry and there's something good to eat, you'll probably overeat. So it's something like that. You're going to eat anyway. Can't say cooking didn't make you hungry, but my cooking made you overeat. But still, it's your fault that you overate. But if you don't want to overeat and I'm cooking for you, probably better I don't cook. that make you want to eat more. So it's something like that. Anyway, it's interesting because I see the problem is we're raised in a culture and a society with certain values. And sometimes Prabhupada throws something in that is like completely in left field for us, like this one. Why would you dress up to go out? Why are you dressing up for Krishna? He doesn't need you to dress up. It's like that doesn't, like, where in your brain does that fit? Because our whole culture is, no, you dress up. You go out, look good. That's what you do. When we joined, all the brahmacharinis wore solid saffron saris, and all the grihastas wore solid yellow saris. Prabhupada never said anything. No brahmacharini ever wore makeup. If she did, that would be like the most scandalous thing. Like totally scandalous. Like really bad. Like, why are you doing that? And this, for us, this was just, that makes sense. That's normal. So, things have changed a bit. We spoke of the verse 140 Bhagavad Gita and had a very long discussion trying to understand position of the female in response. Yeah. Well, ultimately you have to blame the men if they're the aggressors, no matter what a woman does, no matter how she dresses up and like that. But female perspective, knowing that you are like fire and man is like butter, just be careful. Don't, I mean, there's a lot to be said. And ISKCON is a unique movement, and it's being implanted in a culture which is much different from the culture it grew up in, and it's being accepted by a lot of people who are very liberal. Because it's so new and different, it tends to attract liberal people, and it's being accepted by a lot of people who were raised in very liberal societies. So it's not like people who are joining, at least in the West, are coming from these very conservative backgrounds who would dress very conservatively. It's not like that. It's coming from people who like to dress up and like to be sexy, and it's so subtle they don't even know they're doing it. It's just it's just how they are. They're just being female. But as it does affect the men, and a man comes to a religious institution called ISKCON, he doesn't want to come and be disturbed by attractive women showing off a lot of skin. Low-cut saris, low-cut cholis. It's not what the men want to see when they come here. They're trying to get away. When they come to the temple, trying to get away from that. And the short dhotis and no shirts. They should also be respectful. They think it's a religious institution. There's women around. If they have no shirt, they should be wearing a chadar, cover themselves, like that. Everybody should be conscious, I think. So, we should not wear red and blue, There's some, it's not a strong structure, there's some philosophy behind it, because of the colors of passion and ignorance. You shouldn't wear red and blue when you go on the altar, because it's the colors, That's one. Passion, ignorance is another. The colors that Krishna wears or Radha wears, don't imitate. I'm still trying to understand the feminist movement, the movements against the violence against women and women abuse all over the world, in light of Krishna consciousness. We're also, I would say, in protection of women as a basic principle of Vedic culture. An important principle of Vedic culture, along with protection of cows and children, elderly, Brahmins. So, as I was saying, Kali Yuga has arrived ahead of schedule, which means things are progressing faster than they're supposed to. So with the degradation of Kali Yuga, you will see more exploitation, less protection of women. Less protection means more exploitation. Women are useful as sexual objects. It'll be, as Kali Yuga progresses, women become more valued for their sexuality and less protected and exploited for their sexuality. That's the problem. And then you can't work well unless you have men, because if women are being exploited, it means they're being exploited by weak men. So when men become stronger, then it makes it better for it works, actually it works both ways. Men have to become strong and women have to become, so men shouldn't be sexual and women shouldn't be sexual. Men should respect women as mothers, and women should not be trying to allure men sexually, which is what it's all about. But within ISKCON, you have to shift things a bit. You can't just join a spiritual movement and not make shifts in important areas. Just think I can, and it goes on for sure. That's for sure. But if you talk to a lot of senior devotees about it, women who are overly dressed, overly made up, overly decorated, unless it's for some purpose. You're making a presentation, you have to look good for the public or something. But other than that, if you talk to senior devotees, I don't know about women, but men, they'll just look at that and think, this never existed in Prabhupada's time. Why is this going on? And you might say, well, it attracts men. Was that why you want? I don't know if this is the best way to attract them. So yeah, it's a whole discussion. Oh, we didn't even get to read the last thing. Dress up for your husband. That's an interesting concept. No, I don't dress up. Do you dress up for your husband? Nah. You dress up when you go out? Yeah. Who do you dress up for? The other women. They see, I gotta maintain status quo with the women, And all the women will say, that's a beautiful sari, those are beautiful earrings. Nice. Where'd you get it? That was Prabhupada's mood. Anyway, something to think about. I don't know if this makes sense. Kamini says, I read about the funny story why the Grihastas ended up in yellow cloth. It was apparently a batch of cloth which is supposed to be dyed saffron, but it came out yellow. So rather than waste it... Oh, where'd you hear that story? I think this was Shyamasundar. Could be. Could be. But, yeah, anyway, when I joined, and I became a Grihasta, I wore yellow. White came later, after devotees went to India. But yellow is considered a very pure color. And if that story is true, which, if Shyamasundar Prabhu says it must be, but interesting that Prabhupada never said anything, right? Never did anything different. Right? Interesting. He just let it happen. for whatever reason. Yeah, so Marco says, Radharani's colors mentioned in Nectar Devotion. Dressing well but decently has two implications. Gives confidence to the non-devotees that this is poor movement, otherwise they won't come. Maybe in India, yeah. Dressing decently but well emanates positive feeling. This is important for doctors. It makes their patients confident. Yeah, Prabhupada's point was not to dress well, not that you don't dress well, but you don't go overboard for false ego's sake. That's the impression I get. And yeah. Anyway, a lot of people like to dress up. What to do? You know, we all have individual natures. I read, Sadhguru says, I read once that in earlier times, blue and black colored dyes were expensive. Only rich could afford. Yeah, so they were discouraged. Yeah. Red also. Men are like rotten butter. In countries where women are all covered, rape rates are higher. Isn't it interesting? Oh my God. That is like, that throws a wrench in the whole formula, huh? What you can't have, you want more. Hare Krishna. So it's all the women. We should just get rid of women. That would solve the whole problem. Because now we can't figure out if it's covered or if covered is more agitating. If it's uncovered, you see it and there's nothing more to see, so you're not agitated. As if it's covered, then you. It's like, that is so depressing. That is so depressing. Must be hard to be a woman like that. Must be hard in Kali Yuga to be a woman with all these men, lusty men around. In case you want to restart your router, you might want to check the time. Yeah. Should I restart it, or has it been lagging? For me, the class lagged continuously throughout the class. Okay. So I will stop in a few minutes. We'll stop 10 minutes early. That'll give time to delag, hopefully delag. So let's read one more. We have one more quote. We'll read the last one, Kamaniya. The spirit soul grows. This is interesting. Srila Prabhupada, in our fully developed state in the spiritual sky, are we still 1/10,000th, the size of a tip of a hair, like we are now in the conditioned state? In other words, when we go back to Godhead, are we the size of a tip of a hair? How does that work? You know, it's like, how do they see you if you're that small? You arrive there and it's like you can't see anybody and nobody can see you. Like, what do you do? I mean, because we have spiritual bodies. We know we have spiritual bodies, so he's trying to figure out how that works. Prabhupada. Your real dimension is mentioned there, that you are a spiritual atom. The measurement is 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair. That is the basic principle. Now, on that small particle of spirit, we have developed this body. We have human bodies. Others has got the elephant body. Other has got the elephant body. Other has got the mountainous body, but this is external. The real seed is 1/10,000th part of the hair. Similarly, as you have developed the material body under different consciousness, similarly, when we give up the material connection, we shall develop our spiritual body. And in the spiritual body, we shall be able to enter the kingdom of God, back home, back to Godhead. That is the position. This body you have to give up today or tomorrow, or 100 years after, you have to give up. Giving up this body Bhagavad Gita says that after giving up this body, Takta Deha Punarjanma, same verse, after giving up this body, he does not accept any more material body. Then what happens to him? Takta Deha Punarjanma 90. He comes to me means just like in your country, one who comes to you becomes a citizen. He must have some particular, then he will be accepted as citizen or immigrant. Similarly, if we want to go back to Godhead, then we must develop our dormant spiritual qualities. The consciousness movement. It is the training period for going back home, back to Godhead. So that after giving up this body or after this time's death, they do not know what next life they're getting. Although they are proud of education, but they do not discuss what is the constitutional position of the soul, how he is transferring from one body to another, how it is to be done. This science is unknown to the modern education, is it not? They do not know. They simply speculate. That is the defect of modern education. And actually, everyone is seeking for spiritual emancipation. Therefore, in your country, in spite of so many big universities, you are producing hippies, hopeless population. Am I saying right or not? You are university. So he's taking, Prabhupada's taking this question. He's taking this question and then he's taking it to a different level. So, but anyway, he explained. So the soul, 10,000th the size of a hair. But when you go back to the spiritual world, you develop your spiritual body. So there's no difference between you and your body anymore because the body is spiritual. Now there's a difference because we're the soul. And yes, and we're not the body. On that happy note, I'm going to end here. I'm going to run up to the house, pull out the router, and return. Hopefully be able to get on the website for Delhi, the Facebook page, and hopefully Radhapriya will broadcast from there. Okay, so thank you for coming. Tomorrow is our class on balance. I'll translate into Russian. You can join on Zoom if you want, or you can join on Facebook. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go